Good morning. Welcome. This is Angela Coulter and
Sarah Sieg Avagnoni.
bringing you this week's Ascended World. And unfortunately, we're not live on Facebook this morning because some weird thing that I can't seem to see, funny enough, is blocking us from getting on. And I think it's on my computer, but did some kind of update over the weekend, something, but we did some major updates over the weekend. So obviously it's perfect. So we're just going to record today and see where it takes us. So yeah, weird, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it was definitely a powerful weekend. Lots of stuff.
in very highly technical terms, right?
Right. A lot of weird shit, man.
Well, we should talk a little bit about Share Friday night because that was really powerful.
Yeah. Right.
Although I don't remember what we talked about.
You don't remember what we talked about?
What was it? It was a continuation of what you and I had spoken about offline during the
week. It was about what is it that we're blind to, so we continue a certain behavior that prevents what's next, essentially.
Well, what prevents us from really realizing our true potential and stuff. Next phase. And it's almost like it's really funny. It is like it's all last minute. It's like, okay, that's it. Whatever's left, we don't have time. It's just sort of like just sweeping out the closets, or taking a big freaking commercial shop vac and sucking it all out.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the feeling. And
I just got your text.
Yeah, things are wonky this morning, man. I don't know.
That's wild.
So, having to do with. So, like, we say this and we talk about it, and then people say, "Oh, there's a yawn already." People say, "What is the big deal?" Like, or not, what is the big deal? Like, "Oh yeah, I got this. Oh yeah, I'm letting go of stuff. I'm happy to let go of this stuff now, so I can move forward and whatever." And I'm like, except the stuff that we don't want to let go of, right? So yeah, we're happy to let go of the stuff that we're happy to let go of, and it sounds really dumb to say it that way, but it's true.
Well, it's almost like you're happy to do it on your terms.
Right.
But when it comes to terms of absolute, then you're like, well, wait.
Yeah. Wait. Actually, on your ego's terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, what can, like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to give this and this up because it's uncomfortable, right? Or this and this and this, but I don't want to give this up because it is comfortable.
Right. Well, it's funny because we've gotten to this place where it's just not, there's no negotiation about it. An example of it was this weekend we were pulling out more bushes because we've been getting rid of all the diseased Indian hawthorn bushes in our back. And I mean, I knew it'd be a job, but I mean, we've left 7. But that means we've pulled out probably 90, which is insane.
That is insane, yeah.
They were too close together. They weren't taken out of their wire things. I mean, it was a mess. So they were just sick and unhealthy and taking up space. So anyway, it's been, it's taken us like the whole month of July. That's funny to get to this place. And I mean, Frank's been doing the hardest part, but I won't say that I've been doing nothing. But yesterday, he's always been prone to muscle cramps. Well, yesterday, he was like one big cramp. And I was like, that's right. Does it have your attention now?
Mm-hmm.
Your hands won't stop cramping, your legs, your toes, your feet, your chest, your back, it was everything. And he was just screaming. And I was like, So you see now that you need to like hydrate. You need to take care of yourself. You need, and it just reminded me of how that's where we are. It's
Yeah.
like dead stop, dead in your tracks.
No more of this, even if it's a tiny bit. Yeah.
You can't function until you address this.
Yes.
And he kept saying, but my hands, the cramp just won't let go. And I would say, okay. And he'd go, why are you saying okay? And it was like, because I can't do anything. This has nothing to do with me.
Right. Right.
And he was just, it was, now I can look back and laugh, but I was like, okay, the heart's a muscle. What if that starts cramping? And what if he can't take a breath? I mean, I started to get concerned, but I just kept hearing, he'll figure it out. And he did. He did. I kept saying, well, you could possibly drink this electrolyte drink, or you could have this, or you could do this, and this is what I do. But it was,
which is something that you've been like hyper aware of, right?
Right. Which started all this last week is the giving advice and saying, somebody comes to you with a problem, and my immediate response is, well, in my opinion, this is a solution. And it's always, not always, but, feels like always, 80% of the time met with, oh yeah, that won't work. Oh no, that, I've tried that. And,
I've tried that. Yeah, that won't work.
Right.
That's too hard.
Or, oh, that sounds great. And then they never do it. So I realized that I was getting irritated by that. And I went, because I was attached to, it had value to me for them to do that.
Yep.
And that's when I went, oh yeah, no, I should, it's in my best interest to totally divest myself of that attachment.
Yeah.
Because I can't control it. It doesn't, I believe it served me, but it truly didn't. It kept me where I was.
Right.
So, but that was one of those things where it was like, talk about a powerful message.
Right. Well, yeah. And somebody that we had at Share Friday night is going through a massive one with that and had a complete pretty much a physical breakdown in the past several weeks, and hasn't been able to eat hardly anything and whatever. And it's very uncomfortable because it's like, okay, enough of the dilly-dallying, enough of looking away, because there's no time left anymore. There's no, I don't even like using the word time. There's no give left anymore, because now is for us to shift, and we're all walking through a doorway. And it's almost like those who are, like, it doesn't matter how close or far you are from that doorway, either you're going to get sucked through or you're going to step through, but it's happening, right?
Or the doorway is going to come and envelop you.
Yes.
Because the vibration is shifting so much that some things just can't survive.
Yes.
And it's not even a choice.
Right. And the things that can't survive are those comfortable things that the ego doesn't want to let go of, right? So it'll shift if we allow. That's the thing. So I've just been focusing on, realizing my divine potential, like realizing the embodiment of my full potential, blah, 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 all with ease and flow and da. And really just the key words are, I allow, I accept, I trust, and I can't remember what the fourth one is.
And the thing that's been important to me is, I have always been attached to seeing things completed. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so if I deem all these distractions complete, it frees up that new space that lets me look at, okay, now what? Right.
Like, I don't need this distraction anymore. Like this. Yeah. So like, meaning what you mean, like if somebody doesn't understand by like deeming it complete is saying, well, I don't need it anymore.
Right.
We're done. I'm done with those lessons or whatever. And I can do this differently.
Well, and I'm done with the way I've been living.
Yep.
from a perspective of I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I'm not going to settle anymore. I'm not going to compromise what I truly want,
Yeah.
in the belief that, oh, well, this is okay.
Enough. This is enough, right?
Right.
And accept this, right? I know. And I've gone through that too with this whole, like, everything having to do with like the pending move and finding the house and everything else. Is like, no, I had to like really step up to say, I was given the space, and it was almost like you could just hear the fingers tapping or the toe tapping, like, you gonna get there? You're gonna get there? Are you finally gonna say, looking at all these houses that I was just like enough unhappy with, right? When I finally said, no, I am allowed and I am worthy to step into a house that is perfect and has everything we want, and that we don't have to put like, 6 months of effort to it, renovations in and stuff like that. And then I found it, and it was great. And it was like, okay, allowing myself to even, it's worked out so amazingly in terms of I've been guided to just push. Now, the funny thing is this, my husband he can be so obnoxious about like he'll get like, and I say crazy, but actually it's not. It's, if I say something like, okay, because I'm always the one, like, I'm always pushing boundaries, right? I'm always pushing the edge, right? And expanding beyond. So I say, okay, well, let's just set our creation to like get this much for our house, right?
Right.
He'd be the one that'd say, nah, let's add another 50,000 on. Like he literally would just say, nah, I'm thinking we should just put it out there for this. And the ego wants to shrink back and go, wait, I don't know. Are we worthy of that? Right. So he was great and instrumental in all this, because he was the one that kept on pushing me to another level in terms of like even thinking and allowing that possibility be created. And it's like, well, why not? And then of course, once I allowed it and said, you know what? He's right.
Oh, yeah.
We're worthy of this.
Right.
And then it all came together, and then it's like, oh my God, this is actually more than I thought we would get, and we'd have to fight for it, everything else. It was like so easy, because now it's, I am allowing myself to have the space and fulfill the space. And the thing is, the representation of that is, houses have to do with our physical embodiments.
Right.
So are you ready? And it's like so perfect in terms of like that complete symbolism, right, of where we are right now for whatever purpose, even though we don't see it yet. The universe and our higher selves are saying, now is the time to be who you came here to be.
Right.
No more pussyfooting around. No more,
no more pretending.
No more pretending, right? And so, like, it's almost like you want to say, so the ego wants to say you're being forced into it, right? But really, the higher self is just stepping back and giving you the space. And the only space you're given is the space that serves you to step into that space, right? So anything that doesn't serve that is what just, and it's like, oh, so you just keep on hitting these brick walls. And I keep on like, okay, so if you're hitting a brick wall, then that's your invisibility thing, right? So let me,
right.
So then it's that what we were talking about last week is, let me see it differently. Let me see it in a way that's going to be so like, and that's what's happening to many, right? Is we're getting these messages that are so bizarre and seem to be out of left field. Right. So,
or I've done this.
Right.
It's like, but this can't be that because I've already done that.
Right. So, okay, but maybe the higher self saying, well, but you just still haven't changed it. So now we have to give it to you another way so that you can figure it out,
Or you did it in about 99.5% of where it needed to be done. And it's that 0.5% that's going to trip you up.
Yep. Yeah, because it's, or even 0.2%. It doesn't even matter. Or 0.001%.
That's right.
It's still going to trip you up. So the thing is to like, and that's what I just have shifted into this place of like, okay, I accept, I allow, and I trust. I accept, I allow, and I trust. And I embody. And it's this, okay, if I see something that's, I'm getting the guidance to change, then I change it.
Right.
I'm doing everything I can. That's why the acceptance comes here in, because the acceptance neutralizes judgment, right? Meaning this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is better, this is worse, that kind of stuff.
Right.
If I accept what's put before me and say, okay, so this is the best, then what, or this is what is allowing me to move forward. Is this the way that I can do that with, with ease and flow and joy, right? That's my only requirement.
Right.
Ease, fun, flow, joy, and prosperity, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if that's what's presented to me, well, then it's for me to trust that it is, if this is the way it's pushing me, the current is pushing me a certain way, well, then it's time to either, and that's the whole thing. And this is what we're talking about. Oh, this is what we're talking about Friday night. This is a whole, and then we were talking about this offline once we got off too, is this is a whole new level of mastery for us in terms of discernment and understanding. Absolutely. Because there is a very fine line of redirection and distraction, right? So we have to be uber conscious and uber on top of committed to allowing these changes, because then it becomes far more distinct and clear as to whether we are distracting or redirecting ourselves.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because who's to say that your guidance, what you think's guidance, isn't your new distraction?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because the ego is very masterful, the more masterful we become, the more masterful the ego becomes, right? Of disguising itself. So, and actually really that's not, so here's what I'm finding, and this is part of this new level of mastery. I think it has to do with recognizing guidance for guidance, because I think what we do, even as we are so much more advanced, is we then translate in our heads, right? So how much have we talked about translating over the years, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Not for us to translate, it's for us to just accept what guidance is and move forward, right? Whether it's with us or other people, right? And to pretty much see it as it is and move forward. So we are in that's the new level of mastery. We are in such the habit, and it is so deeply ingrained, even at the deepest level, that when we get guidance, we immediately try to translate it, right? The ego jumps in and says, I'm going to translate this. I know what it means, right? If the guidance says to do this, that means I should do this, right?
Right.
When it can when we take the translation away, it becomes far more simple and clear. We think that the guidance is not clear, but it's our translation of the guidance that makes it unclear.
Right.
Oh, I think that's what the topic is today.
Yeah, because I know in Share Friday night, I asked for plain and simple upfront clarity on I think I see where I'm not supposed to be. Where am I supposed to be?
Right. Well, yeah, or where am I to go? Because supposed to be, right, is also ego, right? To say.
Well, right.
I know. And so these are the little things. These are the little things in our minds that would trip us up. Because then we're like, okay, am I supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this? Well, that is an egoic question, right?
Right. Well, where I see it doesn't work, show me what will work.
Right. Yeah. Show me what works in the way that I can embody that wholeness and in this kind of,
that's congruent with my desires.
Yes. Yeah. And creations. Yeah. To manifest the creations. Yeah. So, and that alignment. And so, yes.
The alignment between allowing your doing to be reflective of your new state of being.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to do so, like I said, I'm feeling like that's the whole thing, is that little tiny translation that we make in our minds. if I'm guided to do this, well, then I should do this, right? Because that's exactly what we start to think. And should is an ego word. It's like, oh my God, we know this, but it's so automatic, we don't even think about it.
Right.
And so the ego gets lost when you say that you don't need that translation anymore. Because it's like, what? Like,
then what do I do?
What do I do? And how do I know what to do? How do we know what to do then? What do we know what we should do or should be doing or shouldn't be doing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, because we laid it out for ourselves. There's nothing to guess. We already know.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And the ego says, well, what fun is that? Right?
Yeah, where does that leave room for me?
I'd rather have the guessing game because that's the mystery. That's the puzzle. That's the fun.
That puts me in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a whole new level. Yeah.
Right. I do like that, how you phrased it, a whole new level of mastery.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah, because it's like being aware of this changes a lot. And I've noticed, and I have noticed that within myself over the last several weeks, because I have, and it was funny, even though I wouldn't, until right now, I haven't been able to put words to it. What made a difference is when guidance came in, it wasn't that I doubted it. It's that it was like, when something's in front of you and you just sort of stare at it for a minute because you don't know what to make of it,
Right. Right.
So it was like, sort of like not the doubting, but just sort of like this, how do I do this way? Like, what do I do without that in between translation? Like, how do I perceive this?
Right.
Because then what happens is, by the way, oh yeah, that makes sense. That takes out our dependence on words, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Because we just do for being, right? There's no translation of like words in the middle. That's what it is. And I was going, so I'll just say something and then do something, right? And then the ego wants to, but what? But did you get that right? Are you sure you got that right? Are you sure you translated that right? Right? And it's like, yeah.
It's like, okay, let's hear it again. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Like, what is it one more time?
Yeah.
And that is like a very, very present being space, right? To just do from that. That's what we've been talking about and setting ourselves to do. And we're just so out of practice on doing that because the ego will jump in a split second and start doubting us, right? Doubting that guidance or nullifying it or saying, oh no, I can't do this because of this. Or no, I must have that wrong because I have to do this. Right.
Right.
Oh yeah, I can just feel that on my back. That's really actually, it's nice and uncomfortable at the same time.
Yeah, it's another whole level of responsibility not needed from the ego.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can feel that just moving all through the back of my heart. It's just like there's something like that just shifted something. And it's interesting because there's so I'm doing this stuff, I'm painting furniture, getting ready for the move, whatever. And while I was doing that this weekend, I'm listening to this series of books. It's called the All Souls trilogy. Discovery of Witches is the first book, whatever. I'm on the third book. Anyway, so this whole thing is this woman, this witch who like is just learning as an adult, like because of what she can do, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, and it's very deeply embedded, very advanced stuff. But the biggest key for her was to not have to think about it and just to do it, right? It was that translation of, not the translation, it was from not having to translate it, thinking, I have to create a spell from this. I have to create words from this. I have to do this activity to access this within myself. And it was like, no, it's just, and when she started, like she kept on putting stuff in front of her, which I thought was a great symbolic representation. Like she kept on, like things would just happen, right? That would push her
to deal with, right?
Just do it and not think about it, right? And that's what happens with us when we get into emergent situations in the past. What we've done is we've pushed ourselves into emergent situations, so then we don't have to think, right? Which we don't have to translate, we just do. And now it's okay, if we're committing to not be propelled by emergent situations, that's where the question has been. The ego has been saying, how then do I help myself remember to just create without that intermediary translation?
Right.
And once we realize, and that's the same thing, like even when people, like when we teach Trinity, right? Because that's the first step toward realizing that the power is all inside of us, that we create all of it. And that, and really it's not that people can't do it, it's that they do, and they don't trust themselves enough to know that they have done it that easily and that quickly and that powerfully.
Right.
So like I said, yeah, this is the whole next level kind of thing. Whoa. Yeah, another step. So maybe this week all we focus on is that remembrance, of remembering how to what? See, because then we're trying to translate.
I mean, what came to me was I am remembering this new level of mastery.
Yeah. Of mastery and consciousness. Yeah. And the commitment, just for anybody whose mind needs to know, is to observe ourselves differently, to observe our guidance differently, and to stop ourselves in that observance from translating the guidance and just carrying it out.
Right.
And
Just
knowing.
embodying it.
Yeah. Yeah. And knowing that we are that good. It's like what I'm seeing is like speed racers and stuff like that, right? They have to trust their instincts so much, that they just do.
Right.
And we say react, but it's really just doing with the energy of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's for us to really get, and as we're changing at the speed of whatever, I even say past the speed of thought now.
Right.
If we are changing that fast, then we can't stop to think about it. We just are doing and creating from that being.
Right. And it's from that place of just knowing.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good.
It really does. Because this is where we started, is what I'm hearing. Oh yeah.
Really nice.
Well, I think we got it then. Let's just go we should go be and remember. How's that?
Absolutely.
Let's go do that. Yeah, I had itch in the same spot.
Yeah. Charlie was really itchy.
I heard him. I heard him moving around.
Yeah.
Actually,
Like, yeah.
Obi's laying here. He's so deeply sleeping. He's actually snoring.
That's funny.
Minerva's out there in the back corner. You can't see her.
I saw her earlier.
Yeah, on the floor.
Yeah.
That felt really nice. In the beginning, I saw, it was funny. In the beginning, there was a whole bunch of like chatter, right? Oh, does that mean we can do this? And could it? And then finally it was just like, shh, right? And then I was sitting in this chair and I could feel this. So it was like my being was expanding in breath, but it wasn't just my body. It was like all this energy, but it felt like there was like something that was held up here. And then it was funny. I haven't seen this in a long time, but Yeshua comes in behind me and he's like, well, are you ready to just unlock your chains?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then I realized I'm sitting in this chair and I have like, like a shackle here and then like, like it's chains and then my hands. And in my hands, I'm holding this key. And it was like, I guess it's time. So I just sort of let myself, and so it wasn't like anybody else letting me out. It was just like, hey, just reminding you, you got the key in your hand. You're going to let yourself out or what? So, so when I did that, it was like, that was really incredible. And everybody, I saw so many like that were watching and then they're like, oh, I have my key too. Like, it was,
Yeah, it's like I forget what the name of that scientific thing is where a monkey over here learns how to do something and a monkey on the other side
monkey thing. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what we just did. Everybody all of a sudden sees their keys
at a completely like we were talking about, just a completely new level of mastery. Oh, it feels so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, bam, that was easy.
Yeah, it took us a while to be able to do it.
I know, but that's all right. It's all part of the fun, right?
Right.
All right. Well, everybody go and soak in this week because, I mean, Friday night at Share, that was really powerful.
Yeah.
And,
right.
And it felt like I went to bed and had this amazing dream that, the one that I had shared with you.
Right.
Everything just feels so of birthing, and birthing has been a big topic like lately, right? In different ways. And it was just such an ground, and I'll share that here because it feels like it's really relevant. And like a group of us were like, I think it was Greece, and we were doing a retreat kind of thing and whatever. And then I was pregnant and like in late pregnancy. I was expecting, and so everybody sent everybody out on an outing, and I stayed back behind. And I had this like huge labor, and it's funny because I don't want to say pain because it was like this huge labor cramp, like this, like just this big overwhelming cramp. And then I realized, and then I was like, whoa. And then I was like, wait, this isn't even close to as bad as I thought it would be, right? Or that I remember it. And then I had a couple of them, and then somebody in our spiritual circle came, and she was sitting with us. She was sitting with me, just sitting with me, which is funny because she reached out to me this weekend, and I haven't talked to her in ages. It was such a funny thing. So she was sitting with me, and then my husband came back, and he was like, well, and I was telling him, I was sitting waiting, and he said, well, let's go down a boat. And it was nighttime, so we go on a little motorboat on the ocean at night, which you think, well, that's great for somebody who's about to birth something.
Right.
But it felt right in the dream. So we go out there and we're sitting on the boat, and all of a sudden there comes that big labor cramp feeling or whatever. And then all of a sudden I hear this splash in the water, and I'm like, what? And I was totally confused. Like, what happened? Right. And I look in the water, and it was like one of the like bioluminescent bay thing where I see this big swoosh of sparkles in the water, like of sparkly light. And then all of a sudden, like the water just, and I thought, did I lose the baby? Like, I was just so confused. Like, what happened? Did I lose the baby? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at this thing, and it was just so beautiful. And I saw this whole like swoosh, and then it comes up out of the water and goes, oh, and while we were sitting in before before I birthed, whatever, we were looking up, and the stars were making all these different magical formations as we watched, and it was just so incredible. But then when, the birthing thing, and splash goes in the water, and I look, and then there's this big stream of bioluminescence, and it goes splash up into the air. And then whatever the thing that I birthed was, whether it was a being, an energy, or whatever, it just went up into with the stars and started like making new formations with them. And I thought my heart was going to explode. It was amazing. And I woke up like, that was incredible. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we are.
Right.
That's just, it was just so indicative. It was so beautiful. And that's the confusion, right? That moment of wait, because what was I doing?
Right. I need to translate this.
Yeah. What was I doing? And then I was like, oh, don't worry. Look at how beautiful this is now. Right.
Right.
So everybody sit with that and see where they go this week, because it feels like it's going to be an incredible expansion for all of us.
Oh, yeah. I think so, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. Sorry I couldn't be live this week. Hopefully we'll be back next week. We'll see. Have a great one. This is Angela Coulter and
Sarah C. Avagnoni.
we'll see you next time on The Ascended World.